You know, you can definitely use nutrition to advance the aging process, but fortunately you can also use nutrition to slow the aging process down. And I'm in the business of teaching people how to take charge of their youth, so I wanted to share with you what I think are 5 superstar anti-aging foods. The first is wild Alaskan salmon. Now, you can certainly get wild Alaskan salmon fresh, usually a few months out of the year, and frequently get it frozen. But I'm particularly fond of canned wild Alaskan salmon because guess what? It's available every day on the grocery shelf, and it really is a steal from an economic standpoint. Why is it so special for aging? There are several features. First of all, it's exploding with omega-3 fats, which are the queen of the healthy fats. So many different ways they can slow the aging process. You don't want me to get into that because I might take off from the chair. The second thing is filled with vitamin D. You know, people are hearing about vitamin D. It's so important for everything, like, you know, not dying of like our major diseases, but also, you know, looking good and nice skin. And guess what? Very few foods natively have vitamin D. This is one that does. How much? A single serving will give you what we think you need for the entire day. The other thing about wild Alaskan salmon is it gets that deep, rich color. And by the way, red Sockeye, which is what I have here in my hand, is my most recommended brand, red Sockeye. Why? I think it tastes the best. It is the cleanest, and it has the highest concentration of what makes it this color, which is a very potent antioxidant called astaxanthin. It's like hard to say that. Astaxanthin. And believe it or not, the fish feed on like krill and algae that they're the ones that are making the astaxanthin or this carotenoid themselves. And when the fish, these wild Alaskan salmon, feed on these things, it gets incorporated into their flesh. So that's what gives it that brilliant red-orange color. And how potent is it as an antioxidant? It is 100 times more potent than vitamin E. And again, if you're trying to slow down aging, it's all about decreasing inflammation, decreasing decreasing inflammation, decreasing oxidation, and improving blood flow. And by the way, all those things are interrelated. So lots of antioxidants in here, which means lots of anti-inflammatory power and blood flow boosting power. The second anti-aging food superstar is walnuts. And so these are walnuts, and what a great anti-aging snack. You know, I'm nutty on the subject of nuts. And if you twisted my arm and said, Dr. Ann, you know, which ones are really, really the best for me? There would be 2, and one of the two is walnuts. Why? What sort of makes them a step above the others is they have so much omega-3. Walnuts have more omega-3 than any other nut, but it's not just the omega-3. Like all nuts, they got tons of vitamin E, and they have other healthy fats. They have lots of minerals. They have potent antioxidants. So try to strive to have walnuts regularly in your diet. They're great for combating the aging process. What about freshly brewed tea? When I say that, it can be green, white, black, or oolong, but it needs to be the real stuff. It can be in bags like this, or it can be loose leaf. The reason you want to do it is because I don't know of any easier way to infuse my body with potent antioxidants than sitting there and sipping on freshly brewed tea. There is a category of extremely potent antioxidant compounds called catechins, literally like thousands of them running around in freshly brewed tea. And I mentioned earlier, oxidation is how we think most aging occurs. So that should be intuitive. Potent antioxidants, do it regularly because it'll slow aging. Straightforward. Another one is ginger root. You know, all herbs and spices it's crazy how good they are for you because, again, it's the concentration of phytochemicals they have. And this one's really special for a couple different reasons. First of all, people like the way it tastes. And I juice now, like every morning, and one of the things I do is I put a big old chunk of ginger root in my juice, and it gives the juice this great sort of fresh, gingery, kind of hot flavor, right? And you can also incorporate ginger root by like grinding it into salad dressings or putting in sauces and things like that. And again, it's antioxidant power. So really all these foods are kind of making their way into this particular messaging because they just have so much antioxidant power. And here's a simple tip, because I do this one too, is I will make my freshly brewed tea even that much better by taking a thumbnail piece of ginger root, chopping it up, throwing it into the tea, let it steep along with the tea leaves, drink the tea, and when I get to the bottom, I chew up the ginger to get all the goodness. And by the way, it's a myth. You don't have to peel this. Just keep that bark, that stuff. It won't hurt you. In fact, there's good stuff in there. You don't have to peel that. Just chop it up with whatever way you do it. Just keep that on there, okay? And lastly, dark leafy greens. Spinach, kale, there are others, but the spinach and kale are sort of the reigning dark leafy green champs. And the bottom line with dark leafy greens is this. There is no food. They have no competition. There's no food that provides more nutrients per unit calorie than dark leafy greens. In fact, you can sound like a nutrition expert. If anyone ever says, oh, what food has the most X or what food has the most Y? I don't care what they ask you. If you say, spinach or kale or dark leafy greens, you will almost always get the right answer. So these are 5, let me say them again, very potent, superstar anti-aging foods. Take advantage of them regularly. I sure do. Wild Alaskan salmon, walnuts, freshly brewed tea, ginger root, and dark leafy greens, especially spinach and kale. So remember, you are the only one that can make you healthy. And I want you to take charge of your health. For ICU, this is Dr. Ann.